Okay, so Neo, take the red pill or the green pill? Hold on, is it not blue? No, it's green today. What are you going to have? I'm going to have both. Nom, nom, nom.
And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system that they will fight to protect it. Were you listening to me, Neo? Or were you looking at the woman in the red dress?
Why is the Matrix overly green and why the red dress? Well, let's look at a little invention by Sir Isaac Newton called the colour wheel. We'll grab the green from the Matrix scene as Neo dodges bullets, and we will then draw a straight line across our colour wheel and sample the red dress. Magically, the green and red are directly opposites on the colour wheel, and this is known as complementary colours. But what does that mean when green is in the movie scene? Well, sometimes when I'm ill and I have to take a pill, I do feel a wee bit green. The Matrix is a computer-generated form of slavery, turning humans into batteries. Isn't that enough to make the whole world somewhat sickly? Hence the green that was used. So you ask, why was the pill blue? And then what type of colour scheme is that? But Bob, you do art. What has any of that movie stuff got to do with that? Well, let's take another scene from the movies and we will go to the art a wee bit later. As we can see from the Matrix, we now not only have red, but we also have blue, and we still have green. But notice as the green is only in relation to the Matrix code, so therefore still referring to that sickly world. The colour scheme here is called split complementary. But why can't I just use any colour, you ask? Why do we need all these colour schemes? Let's get into that. So why colour harmonies? Why not just use every colour under the sun? I want yellows, I want greens, I want purples, I want blues. Because it just becomes chaotic.
I don't want to leave this place. It's so fluffy.
No, Kelly Clarkson!
It loses the mood. You can't really determine a mood from all the colours. And yeah, you can use it if you want, but for the majority of things that we watch, for the majority of the images that we see, there is always a colour harmony used to remove the chaos, to give some peace and quiet to the brain. And we're going to look at this a wee bit further with regards to saturation. Looking at this famous painting, the colours are nice and soft. But if we increase the saturation of the colour, we'll get an image like this. Like many images with high saturation, our eyes find it quite uncomfortable after a while. As we can see with this image, as we turn down the saturation, our mind can rest a bit. And we can feel calmer with these muted colours. With saturation high, it's intense, it's exciting, it's a bit too much. So on to hue. What is hue? Hue is the main colours, the purest of colours. When you were a kid you learned red, yellow, blue, mixing them to get the secondary colours. And if we zoom in on our colour wheel and at full saturation, we can move the slider to do with hue, and it's just going round picking the purest of the colour, whether it be red, green, cyan, blue, and giving us the main colours, as you can see. So there are other colour harmonies that we're going to look at, but for the now we're going to look at light and dark. Good versus evil. Does light mean good or does light mean evil? In the words of Stephen King, it was a possibility of darkness that made the day seem so bright. So we can't have dark without light, good without evil, because they don't work. There's a big philosophical debate to be had there, but that's not for this video. So why do we need light and dark? For in darkness all we need is a spark. We have our light and dark slider, but of what value does it serve? Let's look at some images to help us understand the power of light and dark. This is a drawing I did of Bird Box, the infamous river. Sandra Bullock is getting down the stream, trying to find haven, trying to find safety. There's evil lurking in the darkness, but light is something to be sought. We can create mood with the dark and the light colours. But light does not always mean good and dark does not always mean evil. Take Batman or Black Panther. We're on the side of good. With Batman, I'll let you decide. You can let me know in the comments. Light and dark are definitely required to make our art stand out and give it the depth that we need. And we're going to look at some more examples, and we're going to look at some movies, and just to get an idea of how powerful this slider can be for us. So what other colours do we have? Why do we use these colours the way we do? So if we look at Blade Runner, one of my favourite movies, Blade Runner, we've got this amazing scene where our protagonist is heading into the desert. And he's presented with this rich orange and brown colour scheme. And this is where values come in. If we run our value on lightness across this screen, we can see that things in the foreground have got a darker element to them, and as you go further into the background it gets lighter and lighter and lighter. You can see this in all sorts of images. But what type of colour scheme is this? Well, in Blade Runner here, this is what's called an analogous, try saying that 3 times fast, analogous colour scheme, where you've got colours that are close to each other on the colour wheel, but they're not just one colour. Now one colour is monochromatic, and I'll put up an image of that. But this is an analogous colour scheme of a brown and an orange, and it's producing heat and warmth, and I really need to go back and watch that movie again. What are the other colour harmonies, and why was the Matrix pill blue? Why was there a red pill that took him to real life and a blue pill that took him back to the Matrix? And I'll give you again my theory on that in a minute. What are the other colour theories that we are looking at here? We've got Triadic, and the most famous Triadic colour scheme that you'll find is not only that picture I showed you before of the girl, but Superman. Superman has a red, yellow and blue, and if you look at these in the colour wheel, they're on a triangle basis, and you can turn that triangle whichever way you want, and this is the same for all the complementary, the split complementary. Just turn them on the colour wheel and those are the colours that you can use. There's also one called Tetradic. There are many other colour harmonies, but these are the main ones and the ones that I'm focusing on in this video. There is other resources for getting your colour scheme right. Look at other drawings, look at drawings that you like, why you like them, from the lightness to the darkness. We're going to do a video on values eventually. So let's talk about the final question, which is why is the red pill red and the blue pill blue? And I wrote a wee poem to kind of discuss my thoughts on it. The red pill makes my heart grow still. It represents danger and birth and fiery passion I have never known. Should I stay, should I go to the rabbit hole below? Or that little blue so calming to my soul, the drug I need to relax fulfilling my bowl. But it doesn't. I have an ache that lives inside, and only the red pill can provide. So for me, the red pill equals danger. It equals the birth. Neo's birth into the real world. The blue pill, although it's the colour of the real world, it's Neo accepting a drug that takes him back to living in the world that he's lived in all his life. He just accepts this calming blue pill which makes his worries fade away. So why do I think the girl wore the red dress? Well, I think it's a sign of danger. If you watch that scene, Neo is getting taught about the danger of trusting anybody inside the Matrix. Everybody is an agent and they present danger. And so the red dress is there to complement the green, but I think it's there to show danger. If you want to see a values type study, go and watch this video. This is one I've done where you can draw along with me. Thank you very much for watching. Please hit the like button, and wee Bob is out.